Yo, what's up, guys? Me, Eddie again. Welcome back to another tier list or another ranking video. So we're back at it again. This time we'll be ranking every single Spider-Man film ever released and made. So yeah, in fact, I actually made this whole entire list because there is no other list out there that has every single Spider-Man movie, including these two. Yes, we'll get to that in a moment. So yeah, and fun fact, I want to make everything a little bit cool and kind of to feel like you're at home. So I made this whole chart red and blue, to be more traditional and to make it more fun and all that and to match, pretty much the red and blue, as we all know, matches, and it indicates and represents the colors of Spider-Man's suit. So yeah, it's it's just I didn't know I can actually do that in tire list. I didn't know people can actually color their own charts on the tire lists. So yeah, and also I wanted to do this list because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Like seriously, I watched every single Spider-Man movie. Well, not every single Spider-Man movie. Like like pretty much I used to watch the shows, the cartoons. Like I used to have action figures. Think I think I don't remember. I played some of the video games, like the newer, like the Spider-Man games on the PlayStation. Like I love those games. And yeah, so basically we'll be ranking every single Spider-Man movie because, well, I'm a huge Spidey fan. And stay tuned because I will be making another tier list video. I'll be ranking every single Batman movie ever released and made because, well, I'm also a Batman fan too. I'm also a big Batman fan too. But I always like Spider-Man. Spider-Man to me is still my number one because, well, I grew up loving Spider-Man my whole life. So yeah, so we're gonna start from this is every single all well how many? Let me see. One, two, three, four, five. 11. So there's like 11 so far, 11 Spider-Man movies ever released. So, and add in for a bonus, I add in like, well, hold on. I also add in Venom because, well, even though Spider-Man is not in that film, it's still a Spider-Man villain in character. So I still love Venom anyway. I always love Venom. And add in for a little bonus, I add in Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, even though these two hasn't come out yet, I know, but I just want to add in for a little bonus because because I want to make it fun. Even though we haven't seen these films yet because, well, they haven't come out yet, of course. But again, I just want to add in these two films for fun. So yeah, so we're gonna start from we got masterpiece, great, good, okay, bad, and horrible. So yeah, so we're gonna start this film right. So we're gonna start this list right now. So first film we got here, it is this is if you in case you didn't know, the if you're people some most people that I know, people think that this is the very first Spider-Man movie. Yes, the Maguire one, the Sam Raimi one from 2002. Well, fun fact, that is not the first Spider-Man film. The very first Spider-Man film theatrical was actually this film right here from 1977, The Amazing Spider-Man. So yeah, and also it has its own sequel. So yeah, we'll be starting with this film first. So this is The Amazing Spider-Man from 1977. I actually never seen this film. It's good. I had never seen it. I also saw like a few scenes in the film, and it looked horrible. Like I know this was from the 70s, but this film literally came out a year before Superman. Like I'm not bullshitting with you guys. Literally a year before Superman. Like, and Superman looked even better. It looked like it looked better. This film looked complete trash. The effects were trash. The characters were trash. Spider-Man's suit looks trash. Like just looks weird. It looks nothing like the movie cover. Like it looks not like Like it looks a little bit the same, but just look it up. I want you guys just look up for the suit because it's just no. And there's no villains in this film. No memorable villains in this film. That just sucks. You know. Yeah, I'm giving this film horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. And next film we got here is Spider-Man Strikes Back. Again, the same thing. It's still horrible. No memorable villains and all that shit. Like, this film actually came out a year after. Like, it came out in the following year, 1978, which pretty much the same year Superman came out. It still looked as bad as the other as the first one. Like, no, it's still terrible. So next up is you've been waiting for this one, Spider-Man Spider-Man, directed by Sam Raimi, the same guy who directed, as we all know, the Evil Dead trilogy and the Darkman trilogy. So yeah, well, not the Darkman trilogy. It's just the first Darkman movie. No, he didn't direct those. He didn't direct the other ones. He just directed the first one. Yeah, this is to me a great film. Like, I just love the cast. Like, seriously, like Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, Willem Dafoe, James Franco, J.K. Simmons, and all that. Like, I just love the cast of, like, seriously. Like, there are some moments in this film that are just pretty ridiculous. Like, and there's some moments that are not so great moments, or not so good moments. Like, I know a lot of people didn't enjoy much of, well, they did enjoy, but, like, of course, it's the best, pretty much my favorite role in this film is not only Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, it's also everybody, as I know, including me, it's everybody's favorite role in this film is actually Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn as the Green Goblin. like, don't get me wrong, it's not he was not terrible. He was pretty good. He was not great, but he was pretty good. Like, I did love his performance as the Green Goblin, aka Norman Osborn. I just love it. It's both. It's not creepy, but it's sometimes scary and sometimes a little, kind of ridiculous sometimes. But, I do love his performance. I love everybody's performances in this film. It's still an amazing Spider-Man film. It's still a masterpiece, but it's still a great, a great start to a fine trilogy. Well, not fine really, because you know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna rank it great. Next up, it is Spider-Man 2. Yes, this is the one right here. This is the sequel. Yeah, like, seriously. This is, my friends, is probably one of the greatest superhero sequels of all time. Well, it's up there with Dark Knight, but it's still one of my favorite superhero sequels of all time. Also, one of my favorite superhero. It's also one of my favorite superhero films of all time. Like, I just love this film. It's just a masterpiece of a sequel, without a doubt. Like, the best, of course, Tobey Maguire is still great as Spider-Man in this film, but the one that really kisses us is, of course, it is Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, Dr. Octavius, aka Dr. Octopus. He was fucking amazing. Like, this one is absolutely creepy and just, man, like, he was not creepy, but he was dark. He was scary. He was really scary as Dr. Octopus. Like, man, I just love it. One of my favorite supervillains in film. Supervillains, like villains in a superhero film, not like villains, like villains in non-superhero films. No, not that. Like, my favorite supervillains. He's probably my favorite superhero villains of all time. Sorry, what the fuck I say? Superhero villains, super villains. One of my favorite super villains of all time. Yeah, it's a masterpiece without a doubt. There are some ups, but it's still a masterpiece. Next up, you've been waiting for this one. Spider-Man 3. Seriously, what can I say about this film? Fun fact, I was 2 months old when this film came out. I was born in April of 2004. This came out in June, so I was 2 months old. Okay, let's get back to Spider-Man 3. Alright, yeah, this film, no. I like it at first when it first came out. I thought I loved it, but when I see all these reviews and shit, people saying shit about this film, yeah, I regret liking it. I regret loving it. like seriously, when I rewatch this film, yeah, I don't know what was I thinking. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know. Emo, Peter Parker, Maguire, Topher Grace as Venom, Eddie Brock. Yes, I know. Okay. Yeah, I agree with all that. I agree with that. Pretty much Tobey Maguire's role, his performance in this film, just kind of got low. Like it got it all low, like in this film. Seriously. And probably the worst performance, of course, has to be Topher Grace as Venom and Eddie Brock. Like he was terrible in this film, without a doubt. He's probably one of the worst. He's probably one of the worst supervillains of all time in any superhero film. He's probably one of the worst supervillains. When I first saw this movie, I was saying 3 or some shit like that. I don't know. I think it was 3. I was 3 years old when this film came out. Venom used to terrify me. Sometimes I don't know, but he used to scare the shit out of me, Venom. But when I see this guy today, he's nothing but more of a douchebag. He's more laughable than scary. Laughable and just embarrassing of a character, of a villain. So, yeah. Without a doubt, I didn't like this film. Even today, I used to like it, but today I don't like it. So, yeah. It's bad. Without a doubt, it's bad. There are some good scenes, like I do enjoy the action, but there are you know what? There is some bad, really bad moments, but there's so many bad moments, but there are also great moments. Like I do enjoy the ending, but I do enjoy the ending, like the final battle. I do enjoy the final battle, like you know, I mean, Sandman was pretty good, but that's just about it. But yeah, this film, the rest is just nonsense. Gwen Stacy's pretty bad in this film too. I just didn't like it. No, I just didn't like it. So yeah, it's bad. Next up, it is The Amazing Spider-Man. Yes, The Amazing Spider-Man. Okay, you know what? I enjoy this film. You know what? I do when I first heard this when I first heard of this film, this was the same year when the trailer was dropped for this film, the same year, 2011, the same year when Spider-Man 4 was canceled, was announced canceled that year. Well, it was supposed to come out that year of 2011, Spider-Man 4, but it got canceled that same year. So yeah, and when I first heard of a new Spider-Man film, I was so excited. I was so pumped for this film. I have high hopes for this film. I was so pumped for this movie. Well, when I first saw it, I really do enjoy it. I just loved it. Like, it was no masterpiece. Like, well, I did like it, but I didn't love it. Like, love it. Like, I just liked it. It was pretty good. Like, I do enjoy Andrew Garfield's performance as, well, Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire. I'm sorry, no, Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield's performance. I also do enjoy uh, Emma Stone's performance, his role as, well, Gwen Stacy. I just love it. Emma Stone. I just love it. But yeah, there are some moments, like, this film, was it dark? Yeah, it was a little dark. I mean, Lizard the Lizard was this is probably, like, people, like, a lot of people had high hopes for this movie because of Lizard, like Dr. Connors, aka the Lizard. Like, people had high hopes for this character because this is actually the second time Dr. Connors was in this film. Was in a film. Like, the first time we ever seen Dr. Connors, I think, was Spider-Man 2 or 3. I don't remember. And we never see him. We never get to see him as Venom. I'm sorry. What the fuck I said? Not Venom. Lizard. What the fuck I don't understand what the fuck I'm saying. Um, we never get to see Connors as Lizard. We never get to see him. Finally, we got to see him as Lizard in this film, in this reboot. And you know what? I did like it. The Lizard kind of looked kind of weird. I mean, he looks menacing, but he looks kind of weird. I don't know. The CGI was pretty okay in this film. The CGI looks pretty, decent at first. So, yeah, the effects were okay. But you know what? I mean, I don't know. I mean, do I consider it to be a good reboot? Yeah, it's a good reboot. It's a good reboot. A nice little start to a second trilogy. So yeah. So that's the Amazing Spider-Man. I put it good. No, it's not great, but it's still pretty good. Next up, oh man, oh Jesus, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. This film, man. Oh my God, this film. Oh Jesus, man. Yeah, without a doubt, this film, to my opinion, it was bad, like, really bad. Like, it was not the worst. It's not the worst Spider-Man film. Like, it's not as bad as these two, but it's just really bad, in my opinion. Andrew Garfield's performance as Spider-Man, again, same thing. I mean, he was in this film. He was a little bit low in this film. I mean, he did okay in this film. The villains were just atrocious. Like I like man, Jamie Foxx's performance as the Electro. It was a little ridiculous. But when I first saw a trailer for this film, I was pretty pumped for this film, for the sequel. Like, I was really pumped. Like, Jamie Foxx's Electro. But when I saw it for the first time, yeah, no, I'm not having it. Electro was pretty shallow in this film. He was shallow. Like, he was menacing a little. He was a little menacing, but he's not scary. He, like no. Uh, like the Green Goblin. I forgot the name of the actor, but the Green Goblin in this film, Harry Osborn. I just no. I just I just didn't like this film. I just didn't like his performance. It's supposedly he's I don't know if because I was forgot there was one I just kind of forgot about James Franco's performance as Harry Osborn, as the new Goblin from the third Spider-Man film, from the Sam Raimi trilogy. Yeah, I forgot about that one. He was, he was shallow in that film. I thought he did. He was a little shallow, but a little whiny. He was pretty whiny in that film, like really whiny. But in this film, he's pretty whiny as well. In this film, he's even whinier. Like this fucking guy, like he tries way too hard to look dark and cool and just, I'm not buying it. Like, no, I just didn't like Harry Osborn in this film. I absolutely didn't like him. But the worst villain by far, the worst villain, like, what did I even say about this character? His role and his character was horrible. And yes, it's Paul Giamatti as the Rhino. He was terrible in this film. The character was terrible. His performance was terrible. His Russian accent was terrible. Everything was terrible about this character. He was ridiculous. No. 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 Just no. By far the worst supervillain. Probably the worst supervillain I have ever seen. Besides, probably, well, I always say probably the worst supervillain. It was always, to me, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin. I mean, that was the worst. That was probably the worst supervillain I have ever seen. But this one, it's kind of there. Like, it's just terrible. It's just terrible. I just hated it. There are some good scenes, like the action scenes, and that's it. And there's supposed to be like a cliffhanger, like this mysterious character, this mysterious villain. We don't know who the hell he is. Like, we even care? Like, nobody cares really. This guy, this mysterious villain, comes out of nowhere. He reveals that there's gonna be a sinister, there's gonna be a third film, which is gonna be involved with the Sinister Six, which will have the Sandman, the Hobgoblin, Doc Ock, the Lizard, the Rhino, and the Vulture. And that never happened. I'm glad that never happened. Which, I don't really care for another Garfield film. Like, no. Just no. No more. Just no more. You know what? This film is it's just bad. Really bad. There are good moments. There are, like, the action scenes, and that's it. But after all, this film is just really bad. It's not the worst Spider-Man film, but it's probably one of the worst Spider-Man films, pretty much. Not as bad as these two. Like, these two are atrocious. They're just, I don't. It's like it's like I feel like these two movies don't exist, because people actually. So I know some people that pretend. I feel like I just pretend like these two never existed. I'll just pretend like these two never existed. They're just terrible. This film is still a pretty bad film. It's probably worse than Spider-Man 3 in my opinion. So yeah. So I always wanted to see Spider-Man in the MCU. Well, my dreams come true with Spider-Man Homecoming. Well, it was not the first iteration or carnation of, not the first the first appearance of Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, in the MCU. It was the Civil War, of course. But this film, man, wow. This, my friends, to me, is probably by far the best Spider-Man film since Spider-Man 2. Or it could have been probably, but it actually, to me, kind of is still, it's actually by far the best Spider-Man film, by far, right now. Like, there's like, even though this film, it's still part of the MCU universe, it's still part of the Marvel Extended Universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but even though it's not owned by Disney, it's still an MCU film. Like, sure, it's owned by Sony. The rest of the movies were owned by Disney, but still an MCU film. I just love this movie. Like, man, like I love Tom Holland. I love, well, of course, Robert Downey Jr. Of course, I mean, who doesn't like him? Of course, who doesn't love Robert Downey Jr.? I mean, who doesn't love him? Who doesn't? Like who? Like who? Like seriously, yeah. Like, man. Sorry, guys. I was just confused with what the fuck I'm saying. Like, I'm speaking so fast, and sometimes I speak so fast that sometimes I just don't understand what the hell I'm saying. Sometimes. Okay, let's continue. Like, okay, Spider-Man: Homecoming. I love the performance of Robert Downey Jr., Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalha, Jacob, and everybody else. I just love. So yeah, and also don't forget Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton. I just fucking love Michael Keaton as the Vulture. Seriously. I love Tom Holland. He's amazing. One of my favorite Spider-Man of all time, without a doubt. Besides, Tobey Maguire still, but I love Tom Holland as well. He's also, they're both my favorite. I don't know. I don't have a number one really. They're both my favorite Spider-Man of all time. Spider-Man actors, pretty much. So yeah, I love the characters. I love the storyline. I just love the battle scenes. This film was both funny as hell and just it's just great, man. By far, it's another masterpiece for me. Another Spider-Man masterpiece for me. Next up, it is Venom. Yes, Venom. Starring Tom Hardy as Venom, as Eddie Brock. Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad, really. It's not good. I know some people that love this film. Some people say it's bad. It's mixed. To me, this movie has mixed reception. It's pretty mixed. I do love Tom Hardy. I freaking love Tom Hardy as Venom, aka Eddie Brock. I fucking love him. I fucking love Tom Hardy, man. Who doesn't like Tom Hardy? Who doesn't like him? Man. Jesus, man. I love Tom Hardy. Oh, Jesus, man. But, this film is just, it's scary, but most of the time it's just kind of ridiculous. It's not a good film, but it's pretty decent. It's a decent film. It's okay. I love the action scenes, like there's some weird moments. There are weird moments, like, and just sometimes some cringeworthy moments, some cringy moments. But again, it's an okay film. It's pretty decent. It's decent. It's okay. So, sorry, I'll put it okay. Next up, yes, of course, you cannot forget about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Wow. Without a doubt, the best Spider-Man movie. Probably by far the best Spider-Man movie ever made. Probably the best superhero movie ever made. Well, not the best. It's one of the best superhero movies ever made. But it's by far the best Spider-Man film, without a doubt. Man, this film, wow. I just fucking love this film. I thought it was great. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry about that, guys. It's like almost 12. Yeah, I know it's late. But yeah, this film. Oh man, the characters, man. There was something to me. Like this film literally became the first. Well, I don't know about the first. I'm not sure. Was it the first? I don't know. Probably the first superhero movie to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. Was it Birdman? No, I don't know. I don't remember. I think it was Birdman. I'm pretty sure it was Birdman. Was it? I don't know. Yeah, this film is without a doubt a masterpiece. This is probably the biggest masterpiece of them all. I love the characters. I love the performance. I love the story arc. Everything about Spider-Man is all in this film. Everything. The ending, of course. Don't forget about the ending. I just love the cliffhanger with Spider-Man 2099 and all that. It's just, man, man. I have no words. I have no words. It's without a doubt a masterpiece, the biggest masterpiece out of these two. Out of these three, it's still the biggest masterpiece. I'm not crying. It's just, man, man. Okay. This is next. Last but not least, Spider-Man: Far From Home. You know what, man? It's a great film. Not a masterpiece, but it's not as good as the first one. But still a great film. Still a great sequel. Probably the most recent, most recent MCU film. Well, Black Widow will be dropping in a month pretty soon. So this film is just great. Like, I love Nick Fury. I love, of course, Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury. He's still great as Nick Fury. Zendaya, Tom Holland, all of that. But the one role that people been having high hopes and been wanting to see is, of course, Jake Gyllenhaal as the Mysterio. I like him as the Mysterio. I mean, he was not great, but he still nailed it a little. He still nailed it, you know. I mean, I do enjoy his performance, you know. He's not the greatest Spider-Man villain, but he pretty much nailed it. Without a doubt, he just pretty much nailed it as Mysterio. The story arc was pretty good. Of course, you cannot forget about the cliffhanger, the twist ending, the cliffhanger. like Spider-Man's well, this will be a spoiler, but well, you can just skip ahead. So, of course, the cliffhanger with Spider-Man having his name, Peter Parker having his name, like Spider-Man having his actual full name, Peter Parker, revealed to the whole world. To see, like, man, that scene with J.K. Simmons as James Jonah again, it's just heartwarming. It's just heartwarming, man. Like, without a doubt, it's still heartwarming to see him again as James Jonah Jameson. Like, and also can't wait for other more former actors from the other films to come back in the next film, Spider-Man: No Way Home, which includes Alfred Molina, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Jamie Foxx, Kirsten Dunst. That's what they said. I heard she's gonna come back in this film. That's what I heard. So can't wait for that. For all those to come back. For all those to come back. I can't wait for that. Man, I just can't wait for this film to come out. Like, seriously. And for Far From Home, it's a great film. Not as good as the first one, but it's still a great film. It's still a great sequel, in my opinion. Now, for these two bonus films, I will not include these two films because, well, they haven't come out yet. Of course, they haven't come out yet. Like, if these two would come out today, I mean, I would still rank them. I'll rank them, of course, if they come out right now. But well, don't worry. I'll be doing a review on these two films. Stay tuned for that because I'll be doing 2 reviews on these films. Of course, I'll be doing reviews on these films. I'll make videos of reviews on reviewing both of these films. So yeah, I can't wait for that. So yeah. So yeah, pretty much that's it for the video. So that's my ranking of every single Spider-Man film ever made and ever released to the public or to the world. So yeah, so that's it for the video. Stay tuned for a ranking list because I'll be doing a ranking list of every single Batman movie ever released. So stay tuned for that. Comment down below which video I'm going to do next, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.